Good evening and welcome to the Wake Up in the Park Sports Podcast. Tonight we're going to have a real quick episode for you, but we have a very special guest with us tonight. But before we get to him, we're just going to talk about, our personal things with baseball. Just what got you into it? What's your first earliest memory of baseball? It doesn't have to be too long of a story just to get us started for tonight. And we'll start with you, Matt, since you're definitely the youngest of us three. Let's see what got you into it.
So, I grew up around a lot of different things my whole life. Power sports, things of that nature. But I really kind of got into being active at a young age. So I started getting sports in general, and then found baseball through a small rec league, and we were called. It was a little. I can't remember, but it started getting into like t-ball, and then coach pitch throughout my childhood, and then there. My first ever major league game was 2008 against the New York.
Awesome, great stuff. And how about you, Nick? We all know, I think everyone can tell from past episodes that you're a Mets fan. What
Oh
led
yeah.
you down? What led you down that path? And what's your earliest memory with baseball?
So my dad pretty much grew into it because he was born right when the Mets started. So, I gotta take after Pop. I didn't get super into it until I was about probably 11. So like 2004. I went to some more games. I played like t-ball, little league, all that stuff pretty much till I was about 20. But I'd say from 11, I've been super invested in baseball.
Awesome. Yeah, for me, baseball has always been like a sport that I played outside of other sports. I'm a pretty big guy. I played a lot of basketball growing up. I swam for a long time. Baseball was always there for me, either in the off seasons or, I had taken a hiatus for a little bit. My first game, what really got me into baseball and possibly what got me to be a degenerate gambler in my life was a Phillies Expos game my brother took me to. Him and his neighbor Glenn Sterrell, I'll never forget it. Glenn didn't put sunscreen on, and he came back looking like a lobster. He couldn't even sit in the car properly on the way home from the game. But they would put $1 in the pot when they used to do the mound rolls for the ball. So the catcher would roll the ball back out to the mound. If it stayed on the mound, whoever was holding the money that inning or half inning would win the pot.
All
But
right.
all of us, you heard us talking. We played for fun. We played in these little leagues, and I played up through Babe Ruth and so on and so forth. We enjoy the game. But tonight we have our special guest who, above everything else, great guy in his own right, but above everything else is a fantastic college baseball player. Just out of college. I think his last year was last season. And we're going to bring him up here, and we're going to let Matt take this over here and give us a big warm welcome for our friend Tyler Meyer.
What's going on,
Welcome in,
guys?
Ty.
Hey, bro.
So
Go ahead, Matt.
all right. So as you mentioned, last season was your last one with ASU. Is that correct?
That is correct. I'm all done. I hung it up just recently.
Got you. What made you hang it up after college? Why not try to attempt to go pro?
Man, I had quite the journey in baseball. Super blessed to be able to get to the platform that I had at ASU. Loved every minute of it. Played 6 years total of college baseball, between 2 years at a D2 in California and then 4 at ASU. Had a rough road with a shoulder injury, and just didn't quite come back from that. I wasn't quite the same pitcher after my shoulder surgery, so still was hoping to continue playing, but the shoulder surgery kind of derailed the career a little bit, and the door was closed on baseball after college. So still forever grateful for my career, but it was time to move on.
That's completely understandable, man. I mean, especially being a pitcher, that's a shoulder injury is not ideal. I mean, just, did you have a backup plan if something like that did happen?
Honestly, no. It was baseball. That was plan A. Plan B, I was still doing well in school. I was focusing on what I was doing in the classroom at the same time. I was fortunate enough to get my bachelor's and my master's because I was in school for so stinking long. but it was just baseball, man. That was the focus. I treated that like my full-time job. But the injury, it made it tough. It made it tough to come to the ballpark every day, knowing that I was gonna just be in pain throwing. Like it was very mentally taxing. So now, just recently, reflecting back on it, I don't miss baseball. I don't miss playing just yet. I'm sure I will eventually. But that time hasn't come for me yet. It's been good to get a little bit of a break and just support my guys that are getting started. ASU just started back up this week with some fall ball stuff. So just rooting on my guys that are still there and enjoying just being a spectator for right now.
Hey, you know what? I was the same way. Like I said, I've seen, a couple of your starts and a couple of the guys as well. Again, you guys have had a very solid team. I know the school as a whole, pretty much MLBU with like what, almost 500 guys in the league now.
Yeah, I think it's over 500 draft picks for sure. Yeah, I think actual guys that have made it to the show, I think it's 150-ish, somewhere around there. It's a ton.
If I could jump in.
Gotcha. I'm gonna open up the floor.
Yeah. So you heard our stories. Obviously none of us got to the level that you did as far as baseball. So did you start out the same way as us? Starting in Little League, your pops get you into it. What's the beginning story for you?
Yeah, it's kind of just the same as you guys, honestly, nothing different. Started playing, just youth baseball when I was, 7, 8 years old, just rec leagues, and just loved the game, fell in love with it right away. Then I was talented. I was blessed, with athletic ability, and I stood out when I was little. And then, was a Little League All-Star, all the, those fun things, was fortunate to do that. Moving into some travel ball. I didn't play a lot of travel ball. Actually, I didn't enjoy that as much. I just wanted to play as many games as I could. I didn't care if it was going to all the, the big time tournaments and things like that. That didn't really appeal to me. So I played for just a small travel team, just with some guys from the area. And then moved into high school. I went to a really small private Christian high school it was like 200 kids total, the whole school. So our sports teams were not great. So I stood out, especially there, and our league was not ideal either, not great competition. So, and in high school, I honestly didn't aspire to go play Division I ball. Like it wasn't in me. I just loved the game. I wanted to just play. And in high school, I was a two-way. I pitched and hit as well, and played short for our team 4 years. And so I wanted to go somewhere where I could two-way and just enjoy baseball. I just loved it so much. And so that's why I decided to go to Cal State Stanislaus in Turlock, California. And COVID kind of put an end to that. I started there in the fall of 2019, and then in the spring of 2020 is when COVID initially happened. Rest of that season was canceled, and then the following year, which would have been my sophomore year, that was also canceled. I think we were one of the only conferences in the whole country that didn't play, that second year after COVID. So from there, I went to play some summer ball in the Northwoods League, and then I was throwing really well. I'd put on some size and some strength, and was throwing hard. I was like 92, 94 in the Northwoods League, and got a call from Willie Bloomquist out of the blue. And from there, it was history. I wanted to be a Sun Devil. So that's kind of my story in baseball. And yeah, if you want to know more, I'm an open book. So.
Well, yeah, actually I was looking, you have a Baseball Reference page. I don't know if you've realized it, if you've checked yourself out.
I haven't.
I checked into it. It brought me right to a Baseball Reference page. Stanislaus State Warriors. Is that correct? Yes.
That's correct.
So to give these other guys a little bit of a background, I'm a big stats, note-taking guy. So I got it all right here. Like you said, shortened season, 2-2. And it's important to note when he said he got better from year to year. 6.1 ERA, not terrible, especially at the college level like that. I mean, maybe you look at it as a little bit of a rough part, but you got to think you're coming fresh out of high school. It's your big step up into the college game. You only gave up 1 home run. You only walked 8 guys in 25 innings. I mean, the rest of the stats, 11 strikeouts through 25 innings. The rest of the stats are on par with what you would expect for a college level pitcher. But the big thing that I saw myself is when you're talking about that Northwoods League, which we'll have to get into that a little bit because I've personally never heard of. I need to know more about that. But a 4.0 ERA, the step up from one level to the next, or I don't know if it was an even playing field, across the divisions, but the step up in the ERA, same amount of innings, still only one home run, and you almost tripled your strikeouts. So looking at that from I'm not a scout, I'm not an MLB guy, I don't play in the MLB or anything like that. But from a baseball fan, someone that sits here every week and talks about baseball, that is a huge jump. And so let's get the stats off the table. We'll talk about those as we go throughout the day. What's this Northwoods League? I was reading a little bit about it. Can you give us some information about that?
Sure. So summer ball is a popular thing for college baseball players. So you have the Cape Cod League, which is kind of the best one that you can go to. Normally older guys, or it's all D1 guys that go there primarily. Real standout players. And the Northwoods League is kind of a step below the Cape Cod League in terms of how it's perceived by the baseball world. But it's a grind of a season. It's supposed to mimic what a minor league season would look like. So we were playing, 5-6 days a week. You get one off day essentially, and you're traveling, you're busting all over the Midwest. So where I played was in Duluth, Minnesota. Fun little town. Actually enjoyed spending some time there. But we drove to Iowa, over to North Dakota, to Wisconsin. Some just bus trips, and just playing a ton of baseball and having a great time doing it. So that was the first time I had, pitched in a real game since, 2020. It was almost 18 months later. So I just couldn't wait to get back out on the mound. And, I mentioned COVID and how it sucked. It was no fun, but at the same time, it forced me to work and get stronger. So in my freshman year at Stanislaus, I was throwing 80, 85, 88-ish, and then got way stronger. And then in that summer I was in Minnesota, it was 92, 94. And that, I think, is where I made the biggest jump for sure. And I made strides once I got to ASU also. But that big velo jump and just getting stronger and feeling like I became the pitcher I was capable of being during that COVID lockdown, which it was a blessing in disguise for sure.
Absolutely. Nick, do you have anything before we jump forward a little bit here?
Were you more of a straight up velocity guy or more of an off speed pitch kind of dude?
Definitely more of an off speed guy, but so that I still was able to have some success, throwing the upper 80s because I used my changeup a lot. That was my bread and butter. I was four seam and then a four seam changeup off of that, which that was just a God-given pitch. I didn't, honestly, it just is a feel thing. I didn't work on it a ton. I was just blessed with the ability to throw a good changeup before my shoulder surgery. The shoulder surgery kind of changed that, but I was definitely an off-speed guy. And then when the velo did bump up, it just made the off-speed that much more effective. But I still relied on it just as heavily as I did when I wasn't throwing as hard. But it made me a lot better pitcher.
Nice, yeah. I like changeups. It makes a lot of control pitchers have it as like a dominant pitch instead of relying on just max effort every throw.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super effective to righties and to lefties. It's one of our coaches, they refer to it as the great equalizer. If you got a good changeup, you have to respect it. You can't just gear up for heater every time. And no hitter wants to look silly being on time for a fastball and it's really a changeup and they're
Yeah.
early swinging. No hitter wants to look that silly. So they got to respect it. Makes you a lot more effective.
Yeah, two of the most dominant pitchers and for me growing up were Pedro Martinez and Johan Santana, and their out pitches were both changeups. So look at that.
Yeah, no, it's a unreal pitch. Yeah, Pedro had one of the best ever. His was disgusting.
One of the
Yeah, I think
goats.
that brings me into my next question. Did you have a pitcher growing up that you kind of idolized, maybe formed your game after a little bit?
Yeah, I grew up a Giants fan. I was from Northern California, so I grew up going to Giants games and A's games. more Giants games than anything. But Tim Lincecum, the freak, he was just so fun to watch.
My boy.
Necessarily model my mechanics or game after him, but because he threw a split finger, which was basically like a change up. But just watching him was the most fun. That's when I truly fell in love with the game, was when the Giants were really good. It started in 2010 with that first title. I was at the game when they clinched the NL West, which was super cool.
Whoa.
Following that, 2012 and 2014, it was just a cool period of Giants baseball. And yeah, Tim Lincecum was a big part of that. So enjoyed watching him.
He was also my favorite Giant.
Yeah.
A lot of people's favorite, the freak, man. He was
He
cool.
just had that aura, man. When I was younger, I grew my hair out because he looked cool under a Scully, and I was like, big time Timmy James. He's got that drip.
That's right.
I think we were kind of discussing it for everyone at home. We were kind of discussing it before we popped up here live. We brought up Roger Clemens. He should be in the Hall of Fame. As a Giants fan, Barry Bonds, where do we stand with that? I firmly believe that he should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know about these other guys up here, but as a Giants fan, where do you sit on the whole Barry Bonds?
Yeah, I would absolutely say he belongs in the Hall. I don't know how. I understand that we play a game that's based on tradition, right? And there's still the game's changing, but it's for the purists, And he tainted that and taking some drugs and making his performance better. But the guy was the best hitter of all time. I don't think that can be disputed. If you listen to him still talk about hitting now, it's just his mind was just so much above all the pitchers he was facing. And just the fear that he instilled in everybody that was throwing against him, and the way that he turned around Giants baseball, and was he's a San Francisco icon. Absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame. Of course, the roids helped him hit some more homers, I'm sure, but I don't think you can argue. Barry Bonds he's the best hitter of all time, in my opinion.
I just want to say, alleged, never failed a drug test. I mean, he failed the eye test. Whatever. His head ballooned 6 sizes in 2 years.
Yeah.
But, I love stats too. Going on his baseball reference page specifically just for the 2004 season, guy had I want to say 138 intentional walks and 240 total walks. So I think he only had 300 at bats. You can take steroids. I don't think it's going to give you a God-given superhuman eye like that at the plate. So he was a Hall of Famer before he even touched a drug. He should be in. I understand the MLB Hall of Fame is a little political with the whole if you're a jerk or whatever, they're going to pick the character aspect of it. But he should be in. Hopefully, a Veterans Committee does him right, puts him in.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that one. I mean, that was before I was born again, the youngest out of everybody in here. But, he was also, funny enough, he was also a former Devil as well, if I'm not mistaken. And on top of that, the dude, even before the roids, was just insane. In that era, we can't deny it, a lot of the guys took roids during the 90s. If you think about it, especially his era. I mean, he just happened to be the best of everybody.
You were born before his 04 seasons? Is that what you said?
Well, yeah, I was literally a year old his 04 season.
Wow, you are okay. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So COVID is your 9/11, right?
Well, I wouldn't even call it that. I mean, yeah, it killed your year, but at the same time, kind of a blessing in disguise, kind of like what Tyler said.
All right, so we'll jump one more year. So we talked about Stanislaus, we talked about Duluth. Let's get into the Arizona State days, because they've had a guy there, I believe, and Matt can tell me if I'm right or wrong. That coach has been there for quite some time, if I'm not mistaken. Nope.
We lost Matt. When I transferred into ASU, Willie Bloomquist he had just got the job. So this will be his 5th year on the job. It was interesting coming in with a new coach. Bloomy had never coached at all prior to getting the head job at ASU.
I had dropped for a second.
So it's been a wild ride for sure. We've been He's had to learn how to coach. You know, he was a great player, super successful ASU career, really long pro career. Some of it with the D-backs. I think he retired as a D-back, but 14 years in the big leagues. So super great baseball mind, and then wanted to get back into coaching only because the ASU job opened up. So he loves ASU more than anybody I've ever met. Sun Devil for life through and through, and just try to instill that in each and every one of us. So that's what got me excited to come to ASU and play for a guy like that, that just loved the program so much and is trying to bring back that ASU baseball that people remember. You know, just a powerhouse program, not just on the western half of the United States, but in the whole country. And trying to bring back that culture that we've been missing for the last several years. So it was cool to be a part of that. We're getting there. Obviously, we haven't had the most success. We made a regional this year, but looking for more. You know, not satisfied with that.
And I believe Matt was telling us he's seen you pitch because he is a Sun Devils fan, as we all know. And can you tell us a little bit about that, Matt?
So this was a game that Ohio State, you all know, are a very good football school. They came to town. I don't remember. I think this was the last game of the series they had you penciled in as the starter, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, Sunday, yeah.
Yep, that Sunday game, exactly. I was sitting right behind the Sun Devil bench watching Tyler pitch, and he's just, dealing, the Buckeyes put up 8 runs that game. But at the same time,
not all off me.
Not all. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, everyone's got a rough game once in a while. It happens. But at the same time, like I said, before we hopped on here, as soon as he got pulled, I'm like, dude, keep your head up. It happens, But, they came out on top. Tyler, I believe you got the W that game because of that, if I'm not mistaken. Did they give you that?
I don't remember. I couldn't tell you.
Fair enough. I think you went about 5 or so innings, somewhere around there. So you should have gotten the dub, I think.
Yeah. I hung in there to give us a chance.
You did. And I'll tell you what, you were dealing. I couldn't have been more proud to watch that game, honestly.
That's cool, man. Thank
you. Absolutely.
Yeah, so to go along, with the Northwoods League, we saw 22 innings, 28 strikeouts. That's when you said your velocity really went up. You carried that into then your Arizona State career. I mean, looking at it, this is somebody on paper that, I didn't know about the injury before we got on here. On paper, with Arizona State, damn near strikeout an inning. I mean, that's what they're looking for as far as I'm concerned when it comes to pitching and dominant pitching. 3-1, 56 innings, 54 strikeouts. This is in 2022, your first year with Arizona State, and a 1.4 WHIP, which is just, that's bordering on domination in my opinion, especially at the college level. It's a lot harder, I feel, to pitch at the college level, and then for the guys that are in the minors, because metal bats, the ball just flies. It's tough to keep the ball down and keep it in the park a lot of the times. But throughout your career, we've seen it. From every journey, every step of the journey that you've made, 1 home run, 6 home runs, you've kept the ball down, and that is a testament to your ability to throw that changeup, as you were talking about. I think my last question is, and you can tell that you said you don't miss baseball that much, at least not right now. Do we see maybe a possible coaching career at some point? Maybe a bench coach or a pitching coach somewhere at high school level or so?
Definitely, yeah, absolutely. I could see that happening in the future. I'll forever love the game. Even more recently, I've started turning more games back on. Like I started watching some more baseball, a little bit here and there. I think it'll come where I think I could make an impact on kids and coming up, whether it's high school or even younger than that, don't know. But just my love for the game will never leave. That'll stay with me forever. So would love to give back and help in whatever way I can, and just be a positive influence on kids out there, and improve the game of baseball, and just help everyone enjoy it as much as I did.
Absolutely. I myself, this isn't necessarily baseball related, but I coached basketball for 12 years. And I can tell you that this came from loving the game. I only played 1 year of basketball in high school. I played a little bit growing up, similar to everyone's baseball stories, played a little bit here and there all through my youth. but I can tell you from experience that coaching at that youth level, helping those kids out, and my biggest like the biggest factor to me, the thing that encouraged me the most to do it was watching Coach Carter. Honestly, just the way that he was determined. He didn't care about, undefeated is great, winning games is great. That's the mentality that we went into it. Me and a couple buddies went into it at the same time, and you see these kids and what they do. I've kept up with a lot of them and their parents, and just to see that they turned out all right. It's more of a testament than even if they played basketball again after they played with us. So we wish you well as far as the coaching goes, and we hope that love, it stays strong, because all of us here, we really love baseball.
Yeah, thank you, fellas. And yeah, that's one thing. I'll just say, I'll add one more thing here. More than anything I remember on the field, or how I pitched, or if it was a good day or bad day, the most important thing from my whole career is just the people and the relationships I've formed, and the bonds, and the friends that I'll have for life. So yeah, two teammates were in my wedding recently, a couple months ago. The friends for life, and that's the most important thing. And really with anything in life, it's about the people you do it with, and the impact you have on each other. So that's what I've loved most about my whole career.
Well, congratulations on your wedding, man.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I think now we'll go into a little bit of, as we all talked about, we all played. Your favorite moments from playing. We'll start with Tyler, since I don't think anyone will attest to this. He's been a little bit more successful than the rest of us, and then we'll go around the horn. But what's your favorite moment? It could be as simple as you spit a sunflower seed into a water bottle from 10 feet away, or something that really impacted you as you were playing.
Oh man, there's just so many moments. The one thing that always sticks out to me was a game that I had up in Corvallis against the Beavers at Oregon State. It was one of my first starts. It was my first weekend start as a Sun Devil. I started Sunday, got absolutely smoked Friday and Saturday. Oregon State was, I think they were top 10 in the country at that time. And just horrible, typical Corvallis weather. It was like 40 degrees on a Sunday, and it was an afternoon game. It was like a 12 o'clock game. And I ended up going like 7 innings and gave up 1 run, and we won 3-1. And that was like the most fun I ever had. It felt like I could have pitched in the big leagues that day. I just had everything working, and just had a blast, and against a really good team. So that will stand out forever as the best outing of my career. Some of the most fun I've ever had. So.
Had that ice in your veins, huh?
I
Almost
guess.
literal.
Yeah.
Literal. In that sense.
Oh, it was freezing. Yeah.
Never fun.
Go ahead, Nick. What's your crowning baseball moment in your life, in your career?
Well, I mean, probably freshman year. It was probably, I just turned 14. It was a start. I got to play start with JV for varsity a couple games as a freshman. So growing up, I went to a private school till I was about, 6th grade. So we were playing my old school, actually. So I saw a couple buddies. I was like, hey, come out. Haven't seen them like 5-6 years. And I hit 2 home runs and 1 double. We were up 6-0. Oh, we lost 12-6. That doesn't matter. But I played right field, so I didn't give up those runs. But that was cool just to do that in front of like some old school friends and stuff. I didn't care so much that we lost. It sucked, but our team wasn't good, so we had no business there. But for me, that was my like magnum opus, I guess.
How about you, Matt?
I mean, I didn't make it as far as like high school baseball. Like I said, I played a lot of coach pitch t-ball growing up. Through an old scrapbook of photos and whatnot, found out I used to be a switch hitter, oddly enough, hit from both left and right hand side as well. And then, Tyler knows the Arizona Heat as much as I do. I had to catch in that heat at a young age. That putting the full gear on and just catching, oh boy.
It's a brutal job.
Yeah, very brutal job, especially when you're like 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah, that's gotta suck when you want to be outside, but then the heat tells you don't go back in.
Oh
Or you-
man, yeah, wrong there.
I think for myself, I've got quite a few. I have one with Nick. I'll throw this one out quick, and then I'll get to mine. Is we went up to a college, and we weren't going up there to play baseball. We were just going up to run around and cause mischief. And we brought our baseball gloves and our bats and our balls. We always had them with us at all times. And we're just, throwing and catching, waiting for our buddy to come down from his dorm. And we're just out in the outfield of the practice field. And Nick made this just out of nowhere, amazing diving catch.
It was the
Like
mud, bro. It was the mud.
it was muddy. He like jumped and caught
Got
it, flipped
stuck.
his knees like a rock star, rolled out. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
If I didn't get
Uh,
stuck in that mud, it would have just been a routine pop up.
Absolutely, one of the most amazing catches I've seen in person. And then for myself, I was not particularly good at baseball. Like I said, I played it when it was available, when I wasn't doing other things, other sports growing up. But we played in a Babe Ruth league. I don't know if that's the same across the country, but that's about 13, 14, 15, I want to say, right before high school, right around high school freshman. And I wasn't particularly a good batter, particularly good pitcher. I loved fielding. I came up to bat. It's the bottom of the sixth. I think they only played 6 innings back then. Full count, bases loaded, tie game, bottom of the sixth, and I come up to bat. Or I come up to bat. It gets to a full count, and I'm up there. I'm shaking in my boots. I'm like, oh man, I'm either going to ruin the game or I'm going to win the game. And the pitcher threw an inside hanging curveball, and I ducked my knee into it a little bit, and we won the game. And that's not my proudest moment, but probably one of my best baseball stories. My dad absolutely loves telling it. I like him to say that I hit the ball, but he throws the real truth out there. But we appreciate you, Tyler. We appreciate you jumping in and letting us talk to you, letting us interview a little bit. And we wish you the best going forward, with your marriage and getting into coaching a little bit later on. We're just going to sit up here. We're going to discuss a little bit of baseball. And if you want to stick around, that's up to you.
Yeah,
You know,
I'll hang out. I'll hang out. Yeah, thank you,
all
guys.
right. Perfect.
Right on.
So let me just get Matt back up here. There we go.
Appreciate it. Another phone call.
So
That always happens.
what's the story with those two guitars behind you, bro?
Oh, yeah, these are my babies, other than my wife. Yeah, I started playing when I was in high school. I did I led worship at my school and at my church, and still I
Nice.
love country music also. So I've been playing a lot of country music, and it's nice just to unwind and relax. I love music too. So.
Any inspirations for you? Any like favorite artists, current, contemporary, or from the past, either or?
I've been really loving Parker McCollum recently. He's my favorite right now. Riley Green's up there.
Yeah, so it's just about to ask. Tell me you like Riley Green.
Oh, I love Riley Green.
Big fan, man. I wish Grandpa's never died. That's right there.
It's a great song. Great song.
So wrapping this up today, we're going to go over what you would consider your surprises for the 2025 season so far. It could be a player, it could be a trade that was made, it could be a team as a whole. We'll start with Nick in the top left there. What's the one thing, your biggest surprise for the 2025 season?
Let's see. The Red Sox got better by subtraction, and I mean they got better by trading their best player, Devers. Since then, I know they're a better team than they were in the first half. The Giants kind of actually got worse. If you want like a surprising player, we'll go with a hitter. You got Javi Baez coming back from what could have been one of the worst contracts in MLB history, turning it into an all-star season in a different position. He was center field for about half the year. Then you got pitchers. You got kind of like some Matt Boyd. I mean, he was never so much of as a stud, but now with the Cubs, as a lefty, he's just throwing a power pitch, and he doesn't pitch a lot of length, but still pretty good. Other than that, I'll let you guys fill in. I don't want to take all the choices.
All right, go ahead, Matt. Let's hear your surprises for this season so far.
So my surprises for the season so far, I've got to say, are probably like the Detroit Tigers. those guys, and I mean, they've usually been not the greatest in the second half typically, but with the team they've got, especially, and Tyler's going to know this name very well, Spencer Torkelson, especially with guys like him, that team just gels, and I've got a feeling that team can make a deep run.
Yeah. How about you, Tyler? You said you just started watching baseball recently. What have you seen or read online? What's a big surprise for you?
Yeah, for me, it's two players that come to mind, but not really a surprise. But it's fun to see. My guy Luke Keeschel absolutely killing it with the Twins. I just being at ASU with him was an absolute pleasure. Just seeing how he went about his business every day, you just knew that guy was going to be a big leaguer. So not necessarily a surprise, but super cool to see that. Great dude. Wish him nothing but the best, and hope that he has a long, healthy career as a Twin. And another one that he's a Met, Nolan McLean, just got called up.
Yes.
Like the most strikeouts in the first two outings since like Matt Harvey or something. I think
Which is incredible, yeah.
Yes, and which is funny because I pitched against him as a hitter. He when he was at Oklahoma State, I threw against him. And he hit one of the most impressive homers I have ever seen off of me. He went backside off of our pitching lab as a right-handed hitter. It was an unbelievable homer, and my buddies always let me hear about that one, which is it's good. So.
Nice.
Cool.
I wish they would I wish they would let him hit. I don't know if I'm gonna get to see it. Not since his college days, I don't think.
I tell you, the guy could swing it. So I saw it firsthand.
So for myself, I got a couple here. We had talked about it last week. The Brewers. We don't know how they're doing it. It's a hodgepodge of guys, young guys, no real superstar. They've put a pitching staff together of guys that maybe didn't work out somewhere else or they've brought up through their system. So for me, they will stay at number one on my list. I really don't know how they're doing it. The manager, he's done well the last 2 years.
I got two words for you to answer how they're doing it. Bob Uecker. Bob Uecker.
Oh yeah, Uecker Magic. Yep, we talked about that last week. I think this one, my second one I have here is one that's it's like a hot and cold one. It's like PCA comes in here, Pete Crow Armstrong, and he starts off the season on an absolute tear. MVP in the MVP race the first half of the year, coming out of the All-Star break, he's doing all right. And then August hits and he bats below 100. Has one home run, I think, in August. It might have been his only hit of the month. It's just that fall off. I mean, I don't expect it to be long term, but in a year where we're expecting the Cubs to make a deep run, with the team they have, that has been a big surprise. And then as far as the team goes, I'm torn. I'm torn between the Atlanta Braves, who have been consistent contenders in the NL East for the past however many years, to fall off a cliff as they did with essentially the same starter, same rotation that they've had minus a couple guys with injury, and the same lineup. And they do lose. They lost Profar for a chunk of the year for his Barry Bonds impersonation, but
Barry Bonds never got caught. Come on, man. Alleged.
and then also the Texas Rangers, another team for me that they're 2 years removed from a World Series where their offense really dominated through the playoffs and carried them a long way, and they've just fallen off like 27th or 29th in total offense. And then along with that, the resurgence of Jacob deGrom, finally healthy, making a full season. I know it's not necessarily a surprise because he's always been so good, but a 2.24 ERA, playing a full season healthy. The one bright spot I see for the Rangers that might be able to help them if they make the playoffs. And then I agree with Matt completely. The Tigers' first half, I don't think it's something that a lot of people saw coming. To me, they are a first half team, as Matt said, but the absolute dominance they had through the first half, pitching, hitting, everything, top 10 in all statistical categories, just about, is just crazy. But I think, we're creeping up on 40 minutes here. I think that's going to be it for tonight. And again, Tyler, we appreciate you coming out here and taking some time with us and giving us a really good insight about baseball and baseball knowledge and the college process and everything. And we wish you the best in your marriage and going forward. And we hope to hear about you again. Maybe we'll have you back in a year or so, and you'll be coaching somewhere.
All right.
Second,
Yeah.
second career as a country singer, man. You
Hey,
got it.
never know. I got to start writing some songs. Yeah.
That's
Thank you,
right,
guys.
man.
I appreciate it very much.
Congrats, man.